Have you ever wondered why?
When?
How much?
What if?
Well, you're in luck, because you're listening to the Hypotheticast.
Three best buds.
On a mission.
To ask all the questions?
And get all the answers.
I was born with both guns blazing, and I do think I'm amazing. You got the dignity to feel a little about yourself. I don't care what your preacher says. I got my own vicious ways. Only got one command and it goes, I'm killing it. I'm killing it.
Hypotheticast.
Hypotheticast?
Hi, it's me. My name's David.
And my name is Mike, and it is me.
And this is maybe me, who really knows? And my name is Olivia.
Wow.
Hey.
Hi, Olivia.
Hey.
What brings you to this neck of the woods?
My good friend Phil O'Sophie invited
Phil.
me over.
I love that guy. He's such a
Yeah.
good hang. Always has the
Irish?
best snacks.
Irish or
yeah.
just
Irish.
okay. So unfortunately, Emily, she's missing 2 episodes in a row, but she just could not come today, and it was unavoidable. So we have another wonderful co-host.
Yeah, we have just a wealth of friends that are also good and smart and funny. So we're just kind of tapping in. We love it.
Yeah.
So Olivia provided us with a few themes, and we decided on philosophy. Is there a reason in particular, Olivia, that philosophy interests you?
Nope, none at all.
No history with it whatsoever.
Nah, I know nothing about it, and I just like the way the word sounds.
Cool. From now until the end of this podcast, we will pretend that is true.
Sweet.
You were looking at a list of words, and you were like, "I like that one."
That's how I pick things.
That's a good one.
Always. I find a random word generator, and I press it until I find one I like.
Actually, that's not a bad idea for themes. Like, we might want to try that.
That's also how I found my husband.
You just found a word, and it happened to be the name of a person.
Yes, I had to go for a
David
long
Lauer.
time until I found a name, but the first one I found,
Ding, ding, ding.
that's it.
It was just his full name and address.
I have a really special random word generator.
Yeah, that's good. That's important. It includes the whole phone book.
Yeah.
Well, as far as philosophy goes, I have just about as much as any person that has taken a class in college has in terms of experience, which is like, I know what some philosophical ideas are.
I actually remember when I visited a college, when I was deciding where I wanted to go, I sat in on an intro to philosophy class. But I remember they were specifically talking about Plato's realm of forms, like Platonic ideals.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And I was actually way more engaged than I think everyone else in the class. They were all kind of like, we got to be here. And I was like, wait, what? There's just like a dimension of perfect things somewhere? And I literally had the question of like, now I'm going to actually just get into a philosophical discussion, because why not in our intro? If like, say the bicycle is a new form of the horse, but I was like, what if there's a thing that like we haven't invented yet in this hypothetical realm? Like, is
Yeah.
it just waiting there for us to like come up with it?
Totally.
Plato would absolutely say yes.
Yeah.
He would
Oh,
say
you
that.
do know something about
No,
philosophy.
I mean, I intuit that Plato would absolutely say yes.
It seems like that kind of guy.
But also potentially it would be that new things we invent are combinations of previous forms.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like that idea because it's a little bit like the Anglo-Saxon English or German, where everything's just a compound word when it's a new word. So like every item is just a compound item. Like a bicycle is just a horse and a wheel combined.
I'm
or
really
something.
intrigued by this idea that bicycles are new horses.
Yeah.
Like, I
Better,
don't think
faster
that's really where
horses
they
that
came
can't
from.
kill you.
Well, what would be the precursor to the bicycle?
Tricycle.
A cart?
Wait, probably a unicycle.
But you can't ride a cart.
You
Watch
sit
me,
on a
baby.
cart and ride in it.
I know, but you need a horse to power it. So
Or-
like a
What
bicycle.
about one of those little carts that somebody pulls?
Yeah, a rickshaw. A
Yeah,
rickshaw is the prequel.
rickshaw.
I guess
prequel to a bicycle.
I guess the reason I'm thinking it's that a bicycle is different than those is that you can power it. You can ride it yourself.
Absolutely, but I'm like, I don't think somebody looked at a horse and said, you know what I can do? I can make a metal one. I think they looked
Yeah.
at other things similar to a bike
They
and
had
thought I
wheels.
could make it self-powered.
Yeah. If only my stirrups could move around and around and I had to work more to ride this horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, bike does not seem like response to horse.
Yeah,
Bike
yeah.
seems like response to other things.
Yes.
Because horse does all work for you. Easy, no problem.
You can joust with both of them.
I've seen
I
it.
don't recommend it.
Bike jousting is actually really cool looking. I'm terrified of
terrifying.
it. Like, it's super scary, but also it looks so cool.
I mean, I would do it, but it looks terrifying.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I'm at too.
So bikes are horses. We decided.
Bikes are horses. Well,
First
turns out.
philosophical discovery of the day.
Anyway, yeah, that was one of my first encounters with philosophy in college, which is where most of us find it, or
Yeah.
when we watch The Matrix.
Personal note, The Matrix made me deeply depressed for many years.
Oh,
Why?
yeah.
Why?
I was a bit of a perfectionist in high school. I was very on track to be very academic forever. And then I discovered the idea of philosophy. It shook my worldview, and I watched The Matrix and was like, but what if there is no point? What if we are in a simulation? And then I got real depressed
Yeah.
for a real long time.
It's a big, hard idea.
My poor little 18-year-old self didn't know what to do with that.
I remember seeing The Mummy right before The Matrix, and that had some interesting philosophical points.
It did. Like, what happens if you're full of beetles?
This is a podcast where we have segments to be more organized than we've just been. This is a segment, we call it Would You Rather, and we came up with that name. No one else better use it ever. We have asked for submissions for questions, and we will choose between two or more deceptively simple options. This week, we got basically all of our submissions from one person. We got a lot of submissions, but not all of them were Would You Rathers, so I didn't use them for this segment. Do you know this man, David, John Bliss?
I do, and Olivia does as well.
Oh, you both know John Bliss.
John
I
Bliss
do not
was
know
my
John.
man of honor in my wedding.
Oh, nice.
We were opposite each other.
Yep.
You could say that John Bliss and I are mirror versions of each other because John was your man of
concerningly
honor
correct.
and
Yeah.
I was Jacob's
Yeah.
best man.
John Bliss and I have been good friends since high school and talked about many philosophical things
Yeah.
in high school.
Yeah. So this is his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think so because he really came up with a lot of interesting would you rathers related to philosophy. And so we're just going to dive into them. Here's the first one. Would you rather the universe be a computer simulation, The Matrix, the dream of a demon, The Mummy? That was what I interpreted The Mummy as being. Or a series of misinterpreted half-truths that represent a higher world beyond current comprehension.
So I'm seeing a little bit of Descartes in there, a little bit of Plato in there, a little bit of the sort of modern philosophy computer simulation.
Yeah.
I have to say that my favorite thing about the demon thing is that when Descartes describes him, he says that he is a demon no less powerful than he is malicious.
Yes, which is an amazing sentence.
It's
No
the
less
greatest.
powerful than
Yeah.
he is. So
So-
he's very
so
powerful,
Very
and very
powerful
malicious.
and very
or
malicious.
could be not very powerful and not very malicious.
Yes, but
he's
he
just
is
not
a-
less than either one of
He
those.
is a demon, which leads you to believe that he's malicious, but
Yeah, but he could just be not very malicious and
Yeah.
not very
Yeah.
powerful, like
It's
an imp.
The mildest demon.
The
there
dream of
is.
an imp.
The dream
Oh,
of
I
just
would love
a,
to live
a
in the dream of an imp.
retail employee imp, just like hanging out. I wonder what life would be like on a planet
Wait,
called
I
Earth.
don't know that Descartes thought that we were in the dream of a demon.
that was a thought experiment that he
Okay.
created
Okay.
in order to get to his one sort of central truth. I think, therefore I am.
Okay.
So he was trying to ask himself, hypothetically, how do we know what's real? How do we know we're not in the dream of a demon? And he goes, what can I absolutely completely rely on? I know that I exist because I'm thinking, and something has to be here doing the thinking in order for the thought to exist.
I know where I land, and it's always with demon, like all day, baby. One, because it's kind of like the Matrix thing, but like more intentionally designed, which is exciting to me. I am excited about the idea that someone has designed this world for me, and it's a demon.
It wasn't designed though.
I guess it's a dream, yeah.
And do you design your dreams?
Well,
Because
that's
some
it,
crazy
yeah.
stuff happens to me in my
That's true.
dreams.
Is this a lucid dreaming demon?
Yes, Lucid-Dreaming Demon, LDD.
I think in this case, the dream of a demon is just, maybe he's nervous about doing well in his job performance review, and that's what's in his dream.
And you're just a random schmo that happens to be on the sidewalk as he's going to his job interview.
Yeah.
Daydream of a demon.
Well, there are people in our dreams. Maybe, you're just a side person just hanging out.
Yeah, which is fine. Like, I don't care. My experience is the same, and demons are real. Fun.
I think I'd go with the series of misinterpreted half-truths because I want there to be some sort of higher purpose or reality or objective something. If I could trust that that existed, then all I'd have to do would be being smart enough to figure it out. And in my vanity, I think I'm capable of that.
Yeah. At least it gives you something to look at achievably.
Yes.
It's like landing on the moon. You're like, I can get there.
That's
It's there
so
and I can
huge.
get there. It's just going to be really hard.
Yeah, but that's
I
fine.
can.
Doing hard things is something I've done all my life.
Yeah, hard stuff.
Living a purposeless life is much more challenging.
Yeah, in a way.
I was thinking about this, and I think no one has picked the computer simulation yet.
Yeah.
I'm
That
going to go
sounds
with
fun.
that one, and I specifically want it to be Microsoft Flight Simulator. So I want to be in Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's what all of this is.
Wait, so we
All
get
of-
to dictate now which, like, we get to pick
Yeah.
the computer
well,
simulation of the demon
this
dream?
is my guess.
Okay.
My best guess about reality is that we are in a very elaborate version of Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Is it 98? Because that one was pretty
98?
good. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, 98.
I would think we'd all be more pixelated.
Well, you would think so. I think our perception of it being part of it, we just don't see it
Yep.
the same way.
We are pixelated to a person in 2019.
But somewhere up there in the air, there's a plane flying around, and that is the sole purpose for this reality.
Yep, Flight Simulator.
All of your hopes, dreams, fears, worries, all tied up in that one plane flying around. We better hope it doesn't crash.
What I love about this idea is that what you are positing is that Microsoft Flight Simulator 98 has 6 billion background
7 billion.
processes.
7 billion, David, and
like,
counting.
Fully realized.
simulations
Yeah.
Yes,
of
David.
reality.
And Joan the cat, too.
I love it. And nature and space
Yeah.
everywhere. And the sole purpose is so that someone can learn how to fake fly a plane.
because you don't want them getting distracted by like, oh, this isn't real.
Yeah,
like
it
this
needs to
isn't
be
reality.
fully
It needs to
immersive.
be immersive reality.
A
so they
complete
like
copy of reality.
The stakes could not be higher for them to learn to fly.
Everyone knows that skills are not generalizable, and you must have the exact situation
Yes.
to
Yeah.
practice it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm flying in a simulator that does not have all the people and plants and,
Yeah, and
all
sounds
day-to-day
and
life
feelings, it's
and
just not the same.
socioeconomic,
Right?
struggles.
Yeah, you have to have the same
Oppression.
moral burdens
Yeah.
that you have now.
Yeah. In order for there to be real moral consequences, like they had to populate that world with sentient beings, which are us.
Which are us.
Yeah.
Hey, so every time a plane flies over, I'll know, hey, someone's learning.
Yeah.
Or maybe not.
Is it
because
every plane?
Also,
No, or
it's
only some
one
plane?
plane.
One
It's not. Yeah, it's
One.
one plane.
So the plot of the movie The Matrix for Flight Simulator
Yeah.
at 98
Yeah.
is that we realize this and we have to get every plane and see if it's the one.
You have to ask.
Because
if you
Neo
go
is
in,
flying
then you'll
the
like
one
break-
plane.
That's the only way you break the simulation is if you figure out which plane it is,
Yeah.
and then Keanu Reeves is in there
I
flying
mean,
the
if
plane.
you want to break the simulation, because honestly,
that's
like,
true.
it's not a hostile environment that we're in. It was created for a good purpose.
I mean, it's not a great environment, Mike. There's a lot of bullshit happening.
Yeah, but you don't know what the other one is like.
That's
so.
true.
Flight Simulator 2000 is a shit show.
All right, this is also from John Bliss. Little light question for us. Would you rather be in charge of personally defining what it means to be a good or bad person, knowing that your decision could impact the whole of humankind, or trust another randomly selected human to do so? And I'm going to say, for the purposes of this question, if you're the person deciding whether people are good or bad, I think this is what sends you to the good or bad place afterwards.
Oh,
you
okay,
get to
okay.
decide. But one person decides the morality of the universe. Do you want to be responsible for it, or some other random?
Do you know how much responsibility that would be?
Yes.
How stressful that would be? Like, I would much rather follow an arbitrary set of rules as long as I could know what they were or have an inkling of what they were.
But here's
they were really
the thing
bad?
about this question. It's not an arbitrary set of rules. It's someone else on Earth is randomly selected to decide the rules, and you'll have to follow those rules.
Could be someone you vastly disagree with, and they control the fates of 7 billion souls.
Yeah, what
Well,
if it's
okay, so
Jimmy
do we
John?
think that morality
Oh, what if it's
objectively
Jimmy John? Sorry, go
exists in this world in addition to someone being able to choose what sends you to the good place or the bad place?
Oh, yeah.
Because if I think that
right.
there is an objective morality that I should be following, and somebody else then is like, if you follow that morality, you're going to hell, which some people say to me anyway, then I'd still probably follow my own rules and go to hell. I
Right.
still want to do what I think is right. But I don't want to be in charge of this. This is so, like, what if you get it wrong? What if you send a bunch of good people to the bad place?
Right.
Maybe I would just say me and then be like, everyone gets to go to the good place. Because fuck the bad place.
So you would just say, hey, I get to decide. And they'd be like, I'm a Unitarian. Like everybody just
I think
gets
I might
in.
do that.
That rules.
I think in the outline of the question, you couldn't mess up. Like, you would be like, this is what you do to be good, and you go to the good place automatically. Like, you don't just say, I think this is what's good or bad. You get to decide, and what you decide is what's true.
Is actually universally true.
Okay.
So if you said, I think everyone gets to go to the good place no matter what, then that's the morality of the universe.
Then I think I might do it if and set that as the morality, but I'm also totally cool with somebody else setting the morality of the universe.
As long as you know it.
As long as I know what it is, or can have some way of at least getting close to it.
Right. Because if it is a universe in which we go to a good or a bad place, then I definitely want to figure out how to get to that sweet place and not that nasty, nasty hole. I will decide. I decide who lives or dies. It's me. I will do it.
And you're going to decide that the bad place is called the nasty hole?
Nasty hole, and the good place is called the glory hole.
No.
Oh,
No.
That's
no.
why this podcast is explicit. David.
Well, no, I was just thinking about words that have to do with God.
All right,
and
so
glory.
here's the deal. If David gets to choose, I'm out.
That's what I
Anyone
was
else?
just going to say. Yeah, I was going to say, I definitely want to choose, because if David gets it, I don't want to go to the ugly hole.
The nasty hole.
I don't want to go to the glory hole, to be perfectly honest.
Either one. I
no.
don't want.
No,
I would
thank
just
you.
want to stay on Earth.
That's fine. You can.
Or space.
Immortality is also possible in this new world.
But that sounds awful too. I don't want to be immortal.
I know.
Ugh.
The forever hole.
I do. I want to be in the forever hole.
Okay.
This is the first argument that my husband and I had on our first date.
One of the first episodes of this podcast, we talked about that.
Yeah.
It's true.
And David and I were into it.
Yeah, we want
Emily
to.
was not.
Nope.
Because it's a stupid idea.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
That's why. It's
Stupid idea. Because you're dum-dums.
There's another one we got, not from John Bliss. Those are two good ones. But this one was really simple, but I had to look it up and I learned something. So maybe we can all learn something together.
Oh, fun. I like learning.
This is from Lori Castile, friend of the podcast. And she just said, Schadenfreude or Freudenschad?
Oh.
And I looked up what Freudenschad was. Somebody defined it as basically, if Schadenfreude is feeling good about watching something bad happen to someone, then the other one, Freudenschad, is feeling bad about something good happening to someone. Like if somebody gets a promotion that you wanted, or you see someone being successful on Instagram.
Okay. Jealousy.
or just
feeling,
hatred.
Or
you know?
hatred, right. Because that is a different response.
Yeah, because there's sometimes where it's like, I'm not even in competition with the person, but something good happens to them. I'm like,
But the other one, Schadenfreude, is when you're happy. You think it's fun when bad stuff happens to other people.
well, it's getting joy out of other people's misfortune.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. So I have to choose between
Yeah, which would you rather experience?
which would I rather experience? God, I like feeling good, but I also want good things to happen to people. I think I would choose Schadenfreude. Is that how you say it? Schadenfreude?
Yes, it's Schadenfreude.
That is what I would choose, because then at least I feel good. And I don't know, maybe it's fictional people. Like 9 times out of 10, when I'm feeling joy at someone's misfortune, it's because I'm watching a movie. And sometimes people deserve bad things happen to them. So I don't know.
I would also choose Schadenfreude because my feelings about it didn't cause anything to happen.
Right. It's
I'm
a
not
response.
morally responsible for what's going on. And I personally don't think that feelings have moral value. They happen.
Sure
That's
do.
fine. It's how you act on them that has the moral value. So yeah, I definitely want more joy in the world.
Yeah, you just want to
so
be
I
happy.
should feel happy.
Feel happy.
Schadenfreude.
And a very happy Schadenfreude to you.
It should be a holiday.
Yeah. Can we celebrate?
Yeah, we can.
It's like at some point in March.
We'll distribute banana peels on the sidewalk.
And marbles, tacks,
Oh my.
whoopee cushions.
Okay, that's a little excessive.
Yeah, slapstick is fun, and as long as nobody's permanently damaged from it, I like somebody who tries to step through a little puddle and it turns out to be really deep, and then they fall
Those are
into
quality,
it.
yeah.
That's pretty fun.
Oh, so good.
And then
Pianos falling on people, love it.
okay, maybe.
Our next segment on this show is called The Meat. And Olivia has brought a meat for us today, I believe. Is this true?
I brought something meaty.
Ooh, num num.
Maybe it's tofu. I don't know.
Who's to say? A protein. Perhaps we should
protein.
call it the protein,
protein.
to be more inclusive.
I hate tofu though, so
The nut.
Mock duck.
The protein supplement. The wheat gluten.
to start out this segment, I'm going to give you a brief description of a famous philosophical thought experiment.
Yes, please.
In this thought experiment, which is called the brain in a vat, there's a scenario in which a mad scientist, machine, or other entity could remove a person's brain from their body, suspend it in a vat of life-sustaining liquid, and connect its neurons to a supercomputer, which would provide it with electrical impulses identical to those the brain normally receives. So your brain would perceive reality, but it would actually be completely disembodied
Cool.
in a vat.
Cool.
I'm also going to say that for the purposes of this question, it's not that your brain has been removed from your body. It's that you have only ever been a brain in a vat. That's all that you ever were. Same as it ever was. Let's say you wake up one morning, and someone comes up to you and says, you're just a brain in a vat. We're all just brains in a vat. And they give you solid, hard evidence that that's the case. I don't know what that
Which,
evidence
of course,
would be.
we can't actually unpack what that could be, but we believe it.
They give you that evidence. How would you respond to that revelation? Would it change your life? Would you change your ethics, your relationships, your goals? What would you do if you knew that this was all just a computer simulation and you were a disembodied brain?
It's a very valuable thought experiment because it could be true. is the fun thing about it.
Be.
It's like, well, it sure could be.
Well, Olivia gave us this a little bit early to think about. And for some reason, when I was thinking about brain in a vat, I started saying it to the tune of Sweet Caroline. So I was just saying, when I was thinking about it, I was like, brain in a vat.
I'm a brain. Right?
Yeah. Good times never felt so good. Lots of phrases can be done in that style.
That's true.
But brain in a vat's sticking in my head right now.
Brain in a vat, three-legged dog,
Three-legged
get off
dog.
my lawn.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
so many good options.
Anyway, it's interesting that you mentioned it, that someone just comes up to me and they have the incontrovertible proof.
Yeah.
Because I still don't know if it's true. And like David, you said like you believe it. But again, I think the first thing I would do is just try to really double, triple, quadruple check this.
Press the limits of the reality.
Yeah, like I
somehow.
don't think I would get to the point where I would be like jumping off a cliff or anything just yet, because I'm still like not totally
If you die in
convinced.
the simulation, you die in real life. Matrix rules.
Oh, you didn't say that. It was Freddy Krueger rules.
Freddy Krueger rules.
You only get one shot.
Some people it's Matrix rules. Some people it's Freddy Krueger
Yeah.
rules. You know what I would do? I would try to like short circuit the simulation. Like maybe the computer's not running on a lot of RAM or something, and I would be like, I'm just gonna like try to drive a bunch of vehicles together, and like everybody's gonna dance around.
Based on what you know about simulations, it's hard to have a bunch of things happen in one place.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna like throw a big party, and then I'm gonna see if there's any glitches. Like if everybody like starts dropping frame rates and stuff. Run to the edge of the world and see if there's like a series of clouds or mountains that won't let me go any further.
So you think you're in like Skyrim?
You think you're in a bad simulation, is
I'm
what
just
I'm
gonna
hearing.
keep going and then see what happens. And if there's an error message that's like, "Oh,
error
you can't go
message?
further," then I'll know. But yeah, I think I would want to test it out. So I'd maybe, or like ask people questions like, "Hey, what's something only a computer would know?" Say that, and then see what they say.
Just start speaking binary to people and see if they respond.
Yeah, catch them and see. Oh, you knew that.
100. Am I right, baby?
And they're like, yeah. And they're like, oh shit.
Oh, you're a computer.
And
And then you
knew it.
shoot them.
Yep. Then I just start murdering.
So in my imagining of this, all the other people are also brains in vats. You're in a communal simulation.
So other people are not
exciting.
generated.
No,
They're not
that was
computer
that was
generated.
my imagining of it, but it could be something
Okay.
else. Certainly.
Because that was my first instinct, the opposite of that, to think that I am the only consciousness in this brain in a vat simulation.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too.
And therefore, if I believed that was true and that this all was for me is a weird word, but like it's where I exist, I would start to I would be suspicious of all of my friendships, which I, already am all the time. Insecurity's cool. But I would be especially insecure about, like, well, were these people created specifically for me to flatter me? And am I not doing a good job at these things? Does it matter if I'm doing a good job at these things? I think I would start to break it down and examine those relationships. And if they still seemed genuinely supportive and those people still seemed like they were genuinely enjoying the things that they were doing, I don't think I would care. If I really broke it down and I put it on paper, be like, well, I'm a brain in a vat. That's fine. But I'm still getting I still have emotions and I'm still getting the emotional support that I need from my friends. So I guess we're doing okay. I think it would definitely cause me to do a little quick check in the mirror, Michael Jackson style. I'm starting with the David in the mirror and go, okay, how am I living, and is that good or bad? Which I guess is not wrong.
I mean, not the worst reaction.
It's never a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I'm honest, I don't feel as if we have any evidence that this isn't true.
Sure.
Which I've thought about a lot, but I have no background in philosophy. So I would probably continue living the same way that I do. Sure. Because in my mind, objectively, there's no purpose in life. I have no evidence that other people exist because senses are flawed. They can be manipulated, whatever. I don't trust the external world. Mm-hmm. But it's like existing within a game to me. So the rules of the game are other people exist and your actions have consequences on other people.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to continue to play by those rules the best that I can because I can't get out of the game as much as I might want to.
Too.
So I'd probably just keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm reminded of a discussion that happened in one of my favorite author, Jack Vance's, wrote a book series called Planet of Adventure. And there's 4 books, and each one is about a different society on this planet. Like, it's a science fiction adventure, but it also gets very anthropological and talks about like how these societies formed and what they believe. But there's a point in the book, and I wanted to find an exact quote, but I did not. But they're basically talking about these different philosophies or beliefs about how the world should work. And someone says, like, your belief about the world, like, it doesn't say anything about the world. Like, your philosophy doesn't define the world. Like, there's no empirical philosophy. Otherwise, we'd stop debating it, you know?
Well, or we're just not smart enough to get there.
Yeah. What you believe doesn't define the world. Like, your beliefs define you. If you believe these things are important, like whether you're a brain in a vat or a computer simulation or a dream of Joan, you'd still want to live the same way because those are the rules you made for yourself, right?
Yeah.
And I'd also like to imagine that somewhere out there's somebody watching that simulation and growing attached to me as we grew attached to like the Mars Curiosity rover and like an opportunity where we were like, oh no, it's dying. I'm so sad. Like, I want to be that for somebody. I want to be that thing that makes them be like, look, this tiny little robot simulation has humanity.
That is a good point, because I did not consider that.
That you have an audience?
That I could have an audience. It's possible that they can't actually tell because it's all kind of happening within my brain. But if we figured out how to design a supercomputer that can do this, they can probably monitor it too.
They can probably check in.
They could probably figure it out. So I think that I would try to do more exciting things. Or maybe just like dress better when I'm alone. Just like for the pleasure of the viewer.
I would leave weird messages places.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Like start doing like an ARG, like an augmented reality game where you're leaving secret codes, and if people have watched the whole show, they can like find the
I'm
whole.
so into that.
and what the code says is, I know you're watching me, or like I'm a brain in a vat or something, and then people are like, oh, what?
I would pull Muppets from Space.
Okay.
Oh,
Where
what does that mean?
So there's a scene in Muppets from Space where they show pictures of a variety of natural phenomenon that have been manipulated to say, are you there?
Yep.
Except for one which says, are you three?
Are you three?
And they say, we think this one's just a spelling error.
You would do that? You would just put "Are you three" everywhere?
Well, I'd put "Are you there," but then leave like one "Are you three."
They're probably fans of Muppets in Space too.
Oh, who isn't?
I've
love
never
that
seen- I've never
Gonzo.
seen
Love those
it.
chickens. Love that shrimp.
That was my next step too, is that if I decided, okay, I'm a brain, I'm in a vat, I would want to know like why am I here? I would want to like figure out what the purpose of this simulation is.
A demon no less powerful than he is malicious.
Well, it's not a dream of a demon, I guess.
The demon is humanity.
But
maybe
like,
the demon set up the computer
Oh
simulation.
my
and that's,
God, yes.
well, that's the thing. Like, I don't
A
need to
demon
like.
that also made a great computer.
I just want to, like. Why did you go to all this trouble to put all these brains in vats? Like, are you? I would want to know. Like,
They're harvesting you for energy.
yeah, they're harvesting me for energy. Like, maybe there's super advanced humans that are just want to know what love is.
Right.
That's usually
Maybe
what
don't
it is.
hurt me.
They
Don't hurt me.
either want your brain energy for batteries, or they want to know what it means to feel.
Those are the two.
So
Either way, the solution is to fall in love.
I think the opposite. I think the solution is, like I was saying earlier, try to like hack the simulation by like just doing weird stuff, and they'll be like, "Wait, why are they doing that?" Until they have to like send maintenance down
they
and
think
be
it's
like,
you act like a bug.
"Yeah." So what I would do is I would go to the corner of the room and just start walking into it and like bumping against the wall again and again.
Yes.
And they would be like, "Wait, does he think there's
Say
a
the
door
same
there?"
sentence over and
like,
over.
is what's going on? Until I would just keep doing that until like they were like, "We got to go figure that out."
Yeah, well, we got to debug this guy.
Yeah.
Do you think that would cause them to kill you, though?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, what do you
Just
think?
disconnect my
Yeah,
vat.
because they'd be like, well, let's unplug this guy and then we'll plug him back in and then your brain would restart.
But maybe
Turn it
then,
off and then
maybe
on
when
again.
they throw my brain in the brain dumpster, like I could like escape and find out
You
what's
could
out
grow
there.
some little brain
Yeah, your
legs.
brain could escape the brain dumpster.
This is a movie I'd watch.
It's totally plausible, and that's what I will do.
Brain
Escape
dumpster.
through the brain dumpster hatch and live a new life as a brain in
Brain dumpster
whatever
2.
world this is.
Yeah, I don't know what the above world looks like.
I think it's exactly like this.
The above
But
world
more
looks
advanced
exactly
technologically.
like Flight Simulator 98. Like really pixelated. This world is really detailed, and then you get out of it, and it's just like a drab.
Everyone's just
polygonal
Minecraft
thing.
blocks.
Yeah.
Like,
And then there's a world above that, and it's Breath of the Wild.
they're just all video games.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just video games. And
Video games all
was
the way down.
That was the hint to you in your simulation of what the pan ultimate
Oh.
universe is.
So every video game
Every
that gets
video
invented
game
is a
that
new
ever
level.
made is a representation of a dimension of reality that you get to explore as this little brain that escaped a dumpster.
This sounds so cool. I'm
This
really
honestly
into
is
it.
a great Dumpster Brain 2, Escape from New York, and also reality.
I'm excited for Pong World, where I'm just getting bopped back and forth between paddles.
Yeah, the further out you go into the dimension sphere, the more basic the games get, I
Okay,
think, too.
good.
So, like, at a certain point, you're just playing E.T. on the Atari.
No, not E.T.
Okay, our next segment on this show is called Would You Blanket? The way this game works is we present a scenario, we fill in the blank with a verb, often like would you date it, or would you kiss it, or would you hug it, or would you hold hands with it?
These are a lot of very romantic verbs.
I'm a very romantic person. I'm a very romantic person.
Oh, glitch.
Oh, no,
He's a
glitch.
verb, not a man.
No.
So we will posit that to you, Olivia, and then we will, Mike and I will alternate, making the situation better or worse depending on how you respond, trying to get you into that perfect equilibrium where you just can't choose. That's the sweet spot. Might get weird, it might get philosophical, and it certainly will happen. Olivia, you're a criminal. You are a criminal, and you have been arrested. You are a member of a criminal gang, we will say. And you have been brought into an interrogation chamber and told by the head prison man.
Warden?
Warden, there it is.
It is I, the head prison man.
by Big Prison Boy. That they know it all. So you better just confess. And they've got your partner in an adjoining interrogation room.
We just played the prisoner's dilemma. Is that what's happening?
Yes, we are. At first.
Cooperate.
Who knows what will happen next?
Cooperate.
But they offer you a couple options, a couple being, I believe, 3. If you tell on your partner, then we'll make it easy on you. But if you stay silent, it's going to be bad. So if both of you betray each other, each of you serve 2 years in prison. If you betray your partner, but your partner doesn't betray you, then you get set free. And if you both remain silent, you only have to spend a year in prison.
Remind me again what happens if I stay silent and they betray.
Basically, if A betrays B, but B remains silent, then A gets set free and B is stuck in prison for
For 2 years?
3 years. So it's even worse for you.
Because that changes it.
If you betray each other, if you both say, yeah, they did this, and then they say, yeah, they did that, then you both serve 2 years in prison. If Olivia says, yeah, my partner did it, and B says nothing, Olivia gets to go free. And B has to stay, the partner has to stay in prison for 3 years.
Okay, then I'm betraying.
You're betraying.
Yes.
Sweet. So you will say whatever the crime was. You'll be like, yep, they did it. They sure did it. And if they stay silent, then they're going to be like, well, looks like your partner did it, and Olivia, you can go free. I guess we'll see what your partner does.
Yeah, I guess so.
So then they unfurl their little scroll a little bit more, and there's an addendum to the rule that we didn't mention. So
scroll.
if you both betray each other, you have to spend, what did you say, 2
years.
2 years in prison.
Yeah.
However, you will be in a cell with a glass wall in the middle, and you'll be able to see each other, and you'll both know that you sold each other out. And you'll be able to push the glass wall back and forth to give each other more and less space.
Yes.
There's only one toilet for this cell.
How?
But like the wall can go
glass
around
wall
the toilet.
Can move around the toilet, but
okay.
you can't sneak through the little toilet hole.
How strong is my partner? Am I stronger than they are?
Good question.
Approximately equivalent strength.
Oh, Jesus.
So that's the thing they didn't mention is that you're going to be in this special cell designed for you to evaluate your partner the entire time that you've both betrayed each other.
Do I like my partner? Like, are we buds?
Let's just say, for the purpose of this question, that your partner is your husband.
Oh, shit.
Yes.
All right, yeah,
No, that's
then
good. That's
I'm
good.
betraying.
You're still going to betray?
Yeah, because,
Okay.
Jacob would understand. Like, we would both betray. We both know this. So we'd both betray. We'd get into the cell, and I'd be like, hey, you betrayed? And he'd be like, yeah, game theory.
You both did the right thing.
And we'd
game
be like,
theory
yep,
wise.
okay, we both, I mean, like, we know it's the right choice in the game theory world. So we'd just push the wall back and forth whenever one of us had to piss, look away. Because you can't share poops. Poops are too intimate. These are the spousal rules. And that actually wouldn't be too bad, being in a room forever with him, I think.
2 years.
2 years.
I mean,
that's
afterwards,
forever.
I guess you can stay if you want to.
2 years is forever.
So you continue to betray, or you would betray in that
Yes.
scenario. Right before you make this decision, there's a knock on the door, and you've gotten some post in prison. Someone has sent you a message, and it is a note from a rival criminal organization that says, if you tell them anything, they'll know how to catch us. So we'll pay you $10,000 to stay silent.
How bad is this rival criminal gang? What do they do?
What do? They do the same thing as you, which is bank heists.
Do they kill people?
Sometimes, if the job calls for it.
Do I kill people?
If the job calls
shit.
for it. But maybe it never has yet.
Okay,
Maybe it
okay.
hasn't. But you would, because you're a good criminal.
10,000?
A smooth
I don't know what
criminal.
a very smooth criminal.
10,000?
$10,000 to just stay silent.
Would I get that money even if I get imprisoned?
Yes.
Is that clear? Okay.
If you just don't tell them anything
don't
and make
tell
the
anything.
silent choice, then you get $10,000, and maybe Jacob betrayed and then would go to prison for 3 years by himself. Poor little Jacob. Bank heist criminal Jacob, to be
Bank
fair.
heist criminal Jacob. He would be an awful bank heist criminal.
Why?
Yeah, actually, pause. Why?
He's not aggressive enough, I feel like. He's,
Yeah, that's true.
And I feel like he would get distracted halfway through and start telling a weird joke. And it would take like 5 minutes and then he'd get caught.
He would try to set up the whole heist so that he could say money in the bank.
Yeah,
at
exactly.
some
Like
point.
he
It
would
be a
not be
joke.
motivated by the money. He'd be motivated by creating a weird story.
Yep.
And that's not an ideal bank heist criminal.
No, it's not. It sounds fun.
Yes.
But it explains why you got caught.
Yes, that is why we got caught. I think I would go ahead and betray
Ooh.
because I think it's immoral to allow criminals who kill people to stay out of prison in order to get money.
Even
I think
as a
that's
criminal.
pretty fucking... Well, see, this is where I'm running into some
Yeah,
issues is
it's
because
tricky.
I also don't think I would ever
Right.
rob banks. That seems pretty shitty to me.
Is there like something that you would like to rob? Like instead of banks? I just don't want you to feel like this version of you is too different from the actual you. Art heists?
Rich people.
Yeah,
Yes,
tax the
I would
rich.
Robin Hood it. I would Robin Hood it. I would steal from the rich and give to the needy.
Only
Okay.
billionaires.
Jeff Bezos specifically,
We're
I would
coming
steal
for you.
the amount of money he owed in taxes
Okay.
and give it to the U.S. government. Earmarked
Yeah.
specifically not for Trump's wall.
Anything but the wall.
Yes.
All right. So you're a billionaire heister.
Would you still betray in that scenario?
So is the other criminal gang also?
They're just people that rob from anyone, including banks and billionaires. They're just like burglars.
They're just burglars.
They're
Yeah,
just
then I would
burglars.
betray them. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you would betray Jacob.
Yeah. And not take
Cool.
the money from them.
Not take the money from the burglars.
Because I could take it from Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, just take it from Jeff. Once you get out of prison, you could take more money from Jeff.
Yep.
Just him. I love that it's now turned into not just billionaire heisters.
Just Jeff
specifically
Bezos.
Jeff. I mean, there aren't that many
I don't know
billionaires.
why I hate him so much.
I know why. He sucks.
Just to recap, you're going to betray because you know that your husband and partner in billionaire crimes is going to understand that.
Yes.
And even though you have to share this transparent bathroom wall, you'd be able to work it out.
Yeah.
I think we would.
And you're
yeah.
going to not take that money because that criminal organization kind of shady.
Yeah. They're just indiscriminate burglars. They'll steal from anybody. Maybe
Yeah.
you.
To make this weirder, the prison is also made of candy. Did we mention that? How does that change? How does that change your decision? It's a candy prison.
Can I eat my way out?
Well, you might get a stomach ache.
Oh, that is a challenge, my friend. I am intentionally putting myself in this prison. I don't know what I'm confessing. I'm taking
whatever.
option 3.
Yeah, option 3. No, Jacob had nothing to do with it. I'm going to
It's
eat
all
this
me. I'm eating my way out of this prison.
I mean, I think we're just going to make this weird.
Yeah,
So you're
just-
in candy prison now.
Oh, yeah?
And
Yeah, that's the one.
top warden person is a
Big candy boy
is a
now.
big
Candy boy.
Big candy
Big
boy.
prison candy boy.
Just made of like all the hard candies you'd find in like a grandmother's home, like all the like all sorts like weird licorice
The
flavored.
Werther's originals.
Sure,
and-
yeah.
Are we establishing now, which I love, that it has been
The
candy
whole
prison
time,
this whole time?
it's
We
been
just
candy
didn't mention
prison.
it,
We
and
just
now
didn't
we're
mention it.
bringing up
But
this detail.
Yeah, now you
because
have to
it's
take this
relevant.
into account
Yeah.
because the
Did
cell.
I forget to mention? Oh, excuse me. One little detail.
It's candy prison.
You're in candy prison because that's what happens. That's where billionaire criminals go.
Oh,
or
yeah.
Criminals against billionaires.
Oh, okay.
Cab.
I'm into
Billionaire
that.
criminals.
My favorite organization, Criminals Against Billionaires. I donate to them every year.
They go to a candy prison. The cell that you'll be in with your husband it's made of candy that you don't like. What's kind of candy that you don't like?
Gummies.
Gummy. Okay, it's all
Oh,
everything
not
is gummy.
gummies.
Toilet
Oh,
is
no.
gummy.
Oh.
The walls are gummy. The bed, the pillow is gummy.
Can I also say that does Jacob like gummy?
I don't know.
So let's say
I think he does.
He loves it and he chews real loud.
Oh, it's too real. No. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, I'm staying silent. I can't do it. I
I
can't do
knew
it.
we'd get there. Gummy prison.
No,
Gummy
it's the
prison.
chewing,
The chewing.
and also like having to lay on gummies.
Oh, that does sound nasty. Because there's that like little film on them. Ooh.
Because my issue with gummies is the texture. So
Okay.
if my whole world was made of a texture that I hate, and then I had to listen to my husband chewing that texture for 2 years loudly, I would, 1, murder him.
Our next segment on this show is called If I Were You. It's a segment where we pretend that we are you, and then we say what we would do if we were you.
I want to recommend a book. It's called A Perfect Vacuum. It is by Stanislaw Lem, who is a Polish science fiction author, most famous for writing Solaris. But he actually wrote a lot of weird and funny comedic stuff. Very thoughtful and philosophical. This book, in particular, A Perfect Vacuum, is a book full of reviews of 16 imaginary books. Each one is a different idea. There's also a review of the book, A Perfect Vacuum, in the book. It's goofy, but also very complicated. Like one of the fictional books is called Being Ink, and it's about a world where everybody's lives is planned out by a computer. Stanislaw Lem is Harpo Marx, Franz Kafka, and Isaac Asimov rolled up into one and down the White Rabbit's hole. That's from the Detroit News.
That got explicit at the end.
Well, if you're gross like you are, David.
How that works, David.
If I were you, I would watch the movie I Heart Huckabees. I Heart Huckabees is a movie about existential dread in a comedic, farcical sort of way. It stars Mark Wahlberg in the performance of his career, and I am not being ironic. I do believe that is his best movie. It is a weird one. It's a movie essentially about two people that realize that life is meaningless and they try to figure out what to do with that information. It's a bit strange. It's kooky. Dustin Hoffman is there. Lily Tomlin is there. And they do a good job of making it fun to learn about how meaningless it can all be. So check it out. I Heart Huckabees.
How joyful.
How
Delightful.
joyful.
And on a similarly joyful note, if I were you, I would watch Russian Doll on Netflix. caveat, this won't be for everyone.
Sure.
It's kind of dark. There's a lot of drugs and a lot of sex.
A lot of drugs, a lot of sex.
So if that's not your jam, probably not for you. So this is a new show on Netflix that is created by Natasha Lyonne, who is one of the actresses from Orange is the New Black. The basic premise is sort of a Groundhog Day. A woman is having her 36th birthday party. She goes through her night and she dies. And then she wakes up again in the bathroom at her 36th birthday party. And she spends the show trying to figure out what is going on, why this is happening, how she can stop it. And it ends up being a really interesting and deep exploration of trauma and mental health and morality and human connection and why we're all here. And it's so packed full of symbolism and references. I want to watch it again so that I can get more of that. I was actually just writing a quiz about it.
Oh.
And as I did that, I was describing the different deaths and was like, oh my God, these are such obvious symbolism. How did I not get this the first time I was watching it? So just take a little bit of time to think about the stuff after you watch it, because there's a lot happening there.
Russian doll.
Russian doll.
Wow.
Fun.
Hi, everyone. It's me, Emily. If you want to find us on the internet, you can do it. You can go to Facebook, where we're at Hypotheticast. You can go to our Facebook group, which is called Hypotheticast Fan Collaboratory.
It's a good group.
It's a good group full of people posting weird stuff, us posting for submissions, all that kind of thing. Get in there. It's a good time. We also have an Instagram, hypotheticast_IG. You can email us at hypotheticast@gmail.com, or you can just go to our website, which is hypotheticast.club.
Yeah, you should do that. And then you should also write reviews about our podcast while you're doing reviews of all the other things you like to review. Don't forget about us. You can do that on iTunes or any podcast app that allows you to do so. Also, just talk about us to people, because that is a trustworthy way of people finding out about our podcast. Thank you very much for your interactions with us on our Facebook page. It's a great way to hear from you, because social media is everywhere, and you can always use it no matter where you are. And I think now you can use it even if you don't have technology. I think Facebook has found a way to just be part of life.
Yeah, somebody the other day was walking past me on the street and they were wearing a cool jacket, and I just said, like, and then a big old thumb came down from the sky and hit them, and they were hurt, and I felt bad.
But you got a targeted ad for it later.
You love this show. We all know. You just love it, and you can't get enough of it. And you're like, man, if only I could listen to the episodes 11 hours early, the night before they actually come out. I can't wait until Wednesday morning. Ugh. Well, good news. We are on Radio 5 Watt. Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. you can listen to our episodes early. Radio 5 Watt is an internet radio station out of Northeast Minneapolis. They stream 24 hours a day. They play a lot of local music, and they play some podcasts now. We are one of those podcasts. You can find them at radio5watt.org, or they have an app that you can download, which is even more convenient. Wow, how nice. Thank you to Jaden James and The Hunger for their song Killin' It from their album Raw. We use it as our theme song, and we love it every time. Thank you to Christian Hagen for his logo that he made, and thank you to Olivia for being here for talking and for smiling and for saying stuff, which is like talking but different. Do you have anything you'd like to plug?
I write a blog called Out of Spoons. It is spelled AUT of spoons. Currently, I am writing a very long and elaborate series called Hacking Your Executive Function. So if you struggle with executive function, if you have ADHD, autism, any of those fun things, check that out. It gives a lot of tips and tricks, but I will be finishing that soon and getting back into other general mental health, social justice type topics.
We'll link that in the show notes too.
The other thing I would mention is that I'm currently doing a fellowship called the Minnesota Lend program. So if you are into neurodevelopmental disabilities, like autism, and you live in the Minnesota area, they are currently accepting applications for next year. It's interdisciplinary, and they pay you, which is pretty nice. You get a little stipend, a little bit of stipend.
Oh, wow.
So you get to learn from a variety of different experts about autism and other neurodevelopmental disabilities, and then spend time creating a project to help the community. So that's pretty cool.
Dang.
And you should check that out.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm up to. Also, I was a philosophy major in college, as well as a religious studies major. So Yeah.
We couldn't tell.
I know.
Foiled again.
We done got duped.
The last segment here is called No Questions Asked, where I will ask a question and we will not ask any questions about that question.
Got it.
This one comes to us from Scott Monsma. Would you rather put Descartes before the Horus or try to fit a Camus through the eye of a needle?
I want to die.
Hurts me so much. I would rather put Descartes before De Horace.
I don't want to do anything involving Descartes, so I would try and fit Camus through the
Camus.
Camus through the needle.
Descartes before the Horus.
Yay! Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a good time. Think some thoughts.
Find that plane.
I'm marching, marching, 'cause I'm killing it. I'm killing it. I'm killing it. I'm killing it.
What's your favorite candy?
Reese's.
Oh,
Nice, but melty.
yeah, that sounds pretty melty.
That's fine. She'll figure it out.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
you can lap
that's
it
like
up.
one hot day, and you're just covered in chocolate, and you can walk out.
One hot day this fall on ABC.
One hot day in candy prison.